The night was silent, except for the faint hum of the air conditioner. In a small, dimly lit hotel room, a man sat on the edge of the bed, staring at a crumpled piece of paper. The words he had written stared back at him, a final farewell. Everything he had loved, his job, his family, his friends, was gone. He had pushed people away, burned bridges, and now, in the quiet of the night, he believed God had abandoned him. He had thought of ending it all. The hopelessness, the despair, the overwhelming weight of life pressing down on him seemed impossible to carry another day. He had tried everything: distraction, work, substances, even anger at God, but nothing filled the emptiness inside. Then, a faint buzz from his phone cut through the silence. He groaned. Notifications were usually the last thing he wanted to see, but something about this one caught his eye. The title read, "Jesus Still Sees You, a Message of Hope." For reasons he couldn't explain, he tapped the video. At first he scoffed. He wasn't interested in words of comfort or religious pep talks. But then, as the preacher began to speak, something inside him shifted.
Jesus goes to the places you think are unreachable, even your darkest moments.
It wasn't a sermon about perfection or judgment or rules. It was a quiet, intimate reminder that God could meet him right where he was. Memories started flooding back. Moments when he had pushed God away. Moments of bitterness, anger, pride, and resentment. He had always thought he needed to be good enough to approach God. But the preacher said something he had never heard before.
God doesn't wait for you to clean yourself up. He meets you in your mess.
Something inside the man stirred. A spark. A memory of childhood mornings when he would pray with his mom. Of nights in church when he felt warmth and peace. Of times when he felt God's presence so strongly that he could almost touch it. Those memories had been buried under years of disappointment, regret, and anger. But now, they were rising again. The preacher's words began to echo in the quiet room.
You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just come to me. Just come as you are.
And then, as if compelled by something beyond himself, the man fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face. This was no dramatic revelation. No sudden magical change. This was raw, trembling, desperate surrender. For the first time in years, he prayed from the depths of his broken heart.
God, I'm lost. I'm scared. I don't know if I can go on. Please, help me.
That night, he didn't receive a perfect life. The hotel room didn't transform into a palace. But something greater happened. He felt peace, a sense of presence, a whisper of love that he hadn't experienced in years. God had met him. Right there, in his darkness. Over the next days, small changes began to appear. He picked up his phone, not to drown in social media or work, but to read verses from the Bible, starting with simple ones about God's love and grace. He reached out to a friend he had ignored for years. He apologized to his family. Not everything was fixed, but the weight on his heart had lifted just enough to start moving forward. He realized that redemption wasn't about becoming perfect overnight. It wasn't about sweeping away the past or pretending pain didn't exist. It was about allowing God to restore what was broken, step by step, breath by breath. And here, friends, I want to pause for a moment. If you are watching this and have ever felt like this man, trapped in despair, thinking there's no way out, I want to hear from you. Comment below with, "I'm not alone," and know that you're stepping into a community that prays for you. Also, make sure to subscribe to Jesus' Way, so you can walk this journey of hope and transformation with us. There are more stories like this, and I promise they will strengthen your faith and remind you that you are never truly alone. Weeks passed. The man started volunteering at a local shelter. He reconnected with his church community. He found joy in small moments, morning walks, reading scripture, praying quietly. His life wasn't perfect, but it was alive. And more importantly, he had hope. He began sharing his story with others, sometimes through conversation, sometimes through online posts, always emphasizing one truth.
God doesn't just save people, He restores them.
The miraculous part wasn't that his problems disappeared. The miracle was that he experienced life differently. The darkness that had consumed him was no longer controlling him. He had been found. Lessons from the story. Hope exists, even in the darkness. No matter how lost or broken you feel, God sees you. He meets you where you are, not where you think you should be. Redemption is a journey, not an instant fix. Change is gradual. Start small, a prayer, a kind act, reaching out for forgiveness. Community strengthens transformation. The man didn't recover alone. Support from friends, family, and fellow believers made a difference. Likewise, your faith grows stronger in community. God's restoration goes beyond circumstances. Even if your life doesn't instantly improve, God's presence transforms how you experience it. Peace replaces despair, gratitude replaces bitterness, hope replaces fear. Brothers and sisters, this story is proof that God is not distant. He is not waiting to judge you or leave you in despair. He walks with you in your darkest nights, waiting for the moment you say, "I can't do this alone. I need you." If this story touched your heart, comment below and share your own journey of faith or hope. You never know who might read your words and find courage to keep going. And don't forget, subscribe to Jesus' Way. Join a growing community of believers who encourage, pray, and walk together. Together, we can witness the miracles God performs in ordinary lives every day. Remember, God doesn't just save people. He restores hearts. He brings hope. He brings life.